Cindy Giannini King from the CRR Week team. I'm also with Wilmington Fire Department, Wilmington, North Carolina Fire Department as the Risk Reduction Coordinator. And I am here today to introduce you to my friend and counterpart, Mike Lee. He is a master firefighter with the Wilmington, North Carolina Fire Department, and he is now in the Fire Marshal's office. You want to say hey, Mike?
Hey everybody, how you doing? Once again, as Wendy said, I'm with the Wilmington Fire Department. I've been there going on 9 years now, and I recently made the change over to the Fire Marshal's office for like a year and a half now, and it's been amazing. Learned a whole lot, but it's good to be a part of the team.
Well, thank you for sitting with us today, Mike. We talk all the time in Wilmington Fire, and I know that the CRR Week community or CRR community knows about the 5 E's, the pictures right here. But the 5 E's of prevention are very important when we think about community risk reduction. And Mike, from your perspective in the Fire Marshal's office, you see all the E's all the time. But today I want to talk to you about the engineering E and how it relates to technology and honestly some flexibility here during these COVID times. Would you tell everybody about your foster care inspections?
Yes, so how this whole thing came about, in the Wilmington Fire Marshal's office, we go and we do foster care inspections. It's a requirement for them to get licensed and relicensed. So we do basically a home inspection where we're checking smoke detectors, make sure there's no blocked exits, having extinguishers, emergency plans, emergency contact numbers, all those good things. And we get in the homes to see the people, and when doing so, we're able to even educate more so about fire safety. Due to COVID, of course, we had to kind of change things. We know it's been an insane year for everyone. And I think normal for human beings, whatever we're going through, is to find some kind of normality in whatever we're dealing with. And as a department, we felt it's very important that even though we're going through all these rough times, what can we do to still be consistent and still be able to put children in home and keep children in homes that are safe environment for them? So we came up with doing the foster inspections virtually. I was picked because I was the youngest of the crew. So they figured that I would be the most technology savvy. But don't get me wrong, any of our guys could do it. They all have done foster care inspections in person. But I felt like the chief felt with my personality that I would be able to do it over the phone, but still making them feel as if I was there in person. So it's been a really, really good thing to do, and it's been really, really effective.
So these foster care inspections are courtesy, right? So it's not like an inspection, a scheduled inspection. It's courtesy, it's free, right? So really it is just, it's a home safety visit, right? For all practical purposes?
Yes, we go over, of course, the sheet that's provided through the healthcare worker, the social worker, about what are the requirements they have to have in order to get it. So usually we go off of that sheet. Of course, like I said, when you're in person, you're able to kind of talk a little more with them. You're able to see things that may need to be addressed that may not be on that sheet. But when doing it virtually, the only hang up is, but not even a hang up, the only part that's a little different is that you just see what you're asked to be shown. So you don't get to have those little candid conversations about, hey, what about this? What about that? But yes, it
so
definitely
maybe missing out on some teachable moments. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
and that's an interesting thought. You only see what the people are able to show you. So they can be sneaky if they want to. Did you think that was happening?
At first, that was my biggest concern. But most of the people that I did the inspection with were trying to show me even more than it was on the sheet. None of them seemed to be hiding anything. Whenever I say, hey, because of course, one of the things is we need to make sure that all windows open properly. And they'll walk through the whole house and they'll pull every window and they'll have someone videotape it while they pull it open and close it. And then when it came to smoke alarms, we'll go around, they would check every smoke alarm, even show me different things like, it's not on the list, but I want to show you this. This okay? So a lot of people very, very transparent with doing it virtually, which at first I thought was going to be an issue, but seemed not to be so far.
That's very interesting and really great. Did you have any trouble with your technology, with your telephone, with the technological aspect of it with some of the people you were visiting? Did you find some of the folks not as savvy as you? Did you have to talk them through the process of logging in?
It was a couple situations. Of course, Wi-Fi can be very, very challenging. I think a lot because a lot of the kids were being at home, so they're pulling from it. So you get interruptions. But the biggest challenge, sometimes sadly, which we all experience, is just getting logged into Zoom, getting those meetings going and getting the password in. So one time we had a situation where my mic, the mic wasn't working some kind of way. It wasn't working. So I ended up calling her off of one phone and having her walk me through it virtually on my other phone so that at least I can hear and talk to her at the same time, see what was going on. But we made it work. But other than that, it hasn't been many hiccups technology wise.
Well, this has been the year of troubleshooting, hasn't it? So that's awesome. And if you have one, and I looked up your foster care inspection stats, Mike Lee, very impressive. 14 foster care inspections. Does that sound right? Between
yeah, it does. I have one more today at 1:30, so they're still coming in.
So you're communicating by phone, sending a Zoom link, and then connecting again on Zoom.
Yeah, we do the Zoom link a couple times because I have an iPhone. We've done just regular FaceTime. A few people have used Skype. So whatever platform that they have, I try to make a way to do it easier and it's most familiar with them.
That's great. Give a couple options. And another thing, according to your stats, is that these inspections are usually listed at an average of 40 minutes. Do you feel like it took you about 40 on average to complete these?
It does. And I would tell you the 40 minutes includes the calling and all the way to the final part, which is actually sending in the document. Doing the actual virtual inspection sometimes takes about maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And then of course you want to make sure you write all the documentation down. They send you over their inspection form. You print it out, you sign it, fill it out, and then you send it back to them. So that 40 minutes usually encompasses all that's required. But the actual inspection takes maybe about 10 to 15 minutes, which is a little different from being inside the home because it's a little bit longer because you are having those regular conversations and those teachable moments. But when you're doing it virtually, a lot of times, especially if the person's not really comfortable being on camera, it can be a little straightforward, straight to the point, and which decreases the time of the inspection.
So moving forward, do you see yourself using this as one of the tools in your toolbox, beyond COVID, beyond? Do you think this will stick around for you?
Most definitely. I feel that now we're able to be more adaptive to people and their schedules because when we do the home inspection, they have to be home, you have to be available at that time. A lot of times they get off after 5, which when we get off of work. So sometimes they have to rush back home on their lunch break to try to take care of it. But now we're able to say, hey, whenever you're free, let me know. We can do it virtually as an option. Another good thing that's come out of it is the fact of also in my field is being an inspector for businesses that have to have inspections done annually or every 3 years. So we've been able to do some of those virtually because of the virtual foster inspections. Like, man, what if we can do this virtually when it comes to our regular business so people are still getting those safety inspections, even though they may be closed due to COVID or don't feel comfortable with us coming in their business, I guess because of the potential of exposures. So we've been able to use this even as an avenue for doing regular inspections. So I definitely seen this being part of our tools in our toolbox for a long time.
When I think about, I see you and the other inspectors in our office come and go. And what would happen if you didn't have to drive anymore? If you could just click from one to the next, to the next, to the next, right? And you imagine how many inspections you could get in a day that way.
Yes, but I think that the only thing is, Ms. Wendy, is that I think, and you probably feel the same way I feel, we've almost become like technology out this past year, with everything. It's just something to go. It's just something about having that in-person connection. But
absolutely,
this may be the way to go, even with fighting fires, maybe pressing buttons and a little tool comes out.
Send some drones, right? So last question would be for you, if there was a department or if there was a fire marshal's office out there that was thinking about implementing some technology-based, some virtual inspections or foster care inspections specifically, any recommendations or thoughts? What would you do if you could go back and start from scratch? Anything that you've learned?
I think it's gone really, really well. Only advice I can give anyone in any other department is do what's best for your community and for your department. You know where you live, you know where you work for, and you know the people. And don't be fearful of saying no, it didn't work out this time, or failing someone for these inspections, because in the day, a lot of these kids are being taken out of a bad situation and hopefully put into a better situation. And you want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence and making sure that environment is safe for that child. So if you do come across something, whether it's virtually or in person, don't be fearful to say, I don't think it's a good idea, or saying that something didn't meet the requirements that it didn't meet. Just be honest with yourself, honest with your community and department, and do what's best. I think that it's worked very, very well here in Wilmington, and I feel like it worked very well anywhere. You just gotta, I always tell people, take good things from things, also take the bads, and then develop your own way of wanting to do it. So I think it's a great thing to do, because you're getting children in homes that need to be in homes. We're gonna make sure that we're doing it in a way that is safe and the correct way of doing so, while educating them as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to go back just for a second to something that you mentioned before. It was about missing the personal touch. I really agree with that. And I think that that these are all good tools for the toolbox. And I think that they'll all have their place moving forward. But aren't we glad to know that we do have plan B and plan C and plan D, just in case, right? Just in case. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Oh, sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, you're fine. No, I was just saying, it's just good to be in person. Like, even when we were working remote, because we actually worked together, it was good to get back and just walk in your office and have a cup of coffee and be like, hey, like, how's life going? So it's just good to be in person. And that's even with people we don't know. It's just a good feeling.
That's true. Well, thank you so much, Mike, for spending time with us this morning. Happy CRR Week to everybody out there. And thank you for tuning in. And if you need anything from Wilmington Fire, Mike or myself, we're always happy to help. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.